Hello, YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. Jay says you look like I'm ready for a party. I'm really not. I'm not really doing anything. But if you'd have seen me an hour ago, I was such a mess. I said to Saif, I'm like, I probably should make myself look decent. So here I am.
I love that shirt.
Thank you. I've had it forever. I don't wear it very often though. Can you email me, Elizabeth? Because I just go through the emails and I print them and attach them to everyone's orders. So if you can email me, that would be great. Thank you. All right, welcome to Inktoberfest Day 13. We're nearly at day 2 weeks. Tomorrow will be slightly different. It's Lift Your Spirits. So I'm going to send everyone the Zoom link for Lift Your Spirits. Um, so you'll have access to that as well. So there won't be a Inktoberfest. It will be part of Lift Your Spirits. And actually be doing watercolor stamping. So we're going to kind of just pitch across to our ones there. But tonight we're going to be talking all about alcohol ink. So I have grabbed all my different kinds of alcohol inks, all my additives. I have everything here. So let's dive in and take a look. And I'm just going to talk through them. And if you've got questions, then just ask away the questions. I am here for it. I've done lots and lots of research. I don't profess to be the expert on alcohol inks, but I think I know a fair amount. So I'm just going to go through everything that's here. Hey, Connie, as we go, and we're just going to chat through everything. So, hey, Sarah Louise. All right, so let's first of all talk about different brands. So we have Marabu. So I had some of these. I only have a couple of them left. I actually gave them away. That should tell you a lot about how much of a fan I am of them. Um, we have Piñata. They're made by Jacquard. And then we, of course, have our trusty Tim Holtz Rangers. And there's lots of subsets within this. So there's other products that come along with them. I'm going to talk about those. Um, and then, of course, you have things like your Copic Reinkers and your alcohol marker reinkers and those kinds of things. So you can use your alcohol marker reinkers as alcohol inks. However, they're going to not apply to the same rules that we're going to talk about when we talk about alcohol inks like this. The reason being is your alcohol ink marker refills don't have a binder in them. Like these all have a binder in to use them the way we're using them. The markers are designed to be free flowing, so they don't have that resin binder in them. So they're going to work slightly differently. In terms of the way they behave and the way we're going to use them. So when we actually get into using alcohol inks, we'll talk a little bit more about them. Hey Deb, but in a pinch, you can absolutely use them. If you don't have alcohol inks, but you want to try alcohol ink techniques, then you absolutely can use your alcohol marker re-inkers to play and have fun. They're just going to be used slightly differently to how you use these here. So that's kind of how they work. So I'm going to start with Marabou's. I bought these because I thought it was kind of cool that they have glitter in them. But when I actually use them, I'll be honest, I was really disappointed in them. They do have neons, they have these interference ones, they have those kinds of things. But I'm going to show you other techniques in terms of alcohol inks and interference and all those kinds of things. And I honestly think there's better things out there. So I bought the whole set and I actually gave them away to one of our followers here. So I just asked if anyone didn't have alcohol inks and I gave them away. Like that's really what I thought. I kept three, I think, and they're all these interference colors of here as well. When they come in these pots, they come with these tips, and you have to cut the tip off. So the tip is sealed, and you have to cut it off. So you can cut it really as high or as low as you want. I've read people who love these alcohol inks. They're just, for me, they weren't my favorite. That was it. So that's it as well. Um, so there's that. Okay, so let's talk about my two favorite. This is a pearl version. Let me grab just a regular one out my other box. Um, let's see what we've got in here. Here's a pink. So I love these too. So there's Ranger alcohol inks and there's Piñatas. I'm going to start with Piñatas just because There's not a huge amount of colors. I put them in one of the Tim Holtz reinker boxes. Um, Piñatas are very concentrated. They are not designed to be used it straight from the bottle like this. So if you, for instance, look at, I'm trying to pick a particular color, like this is my purple here. You see how much resin binder? That's what's in here. It's a resin binder. So you see how much resin binder is in here because they kind of come out the top a little bit. I have a few that kind of, I couldn't even get the lids off. I had to buy new ones. Um, like if you look at my copper here, you see all that resin binder. So you do have to dilute them. And there are various things we can dilute them with. And we're going to cover that as we kind of go through alcohol ink step by step. I want to cover the inks today. Tomorrow we've got watercolor stamping. Wednesday we're going to talk about surfaces and what surfaces work, what surfaces don't work, the difference in all these surfaces we see. And then we're going to start diving into actually using them. So this is piñatas. They are designed to be watered down. They have a white. They have metallics. There's a gold. They also have them their own extender if you want to get that. The reason I'm not a big fan of their extender is to me it feels very sticky and I don't like it. I honestly don't like it because it's sticky. That's the only reason I don't use theirs personally. This one you can see I've had it since 2020. So that's how long it's lasted me. Okay. I do have a big pot of the white and I'll show you why when we get into playing with them and things. You do have to give it a good shake, but I'm also going to show you a hack for a way you don't have to use these expensive ones because these are pricey. These are pretty pricey. So I'm going to show you a hack for that as well. Um, then you've got what else do they sell? They have a brass. They have all the colors in here. So the only thing I'll say is their color selection is kind of limited. There's a pearl in here as well. So they're I would say it's a little bit limited their color selection, but I do really like them and they're very concentrated. So once you buy a bottle, they're going to last you a long, long, long time. So that's what I would say about piñatas. They are not, however, designed to be used straight from the bottle. And I think that's where people go wrong is because they put them direct to paper and then they're super sticky. And people put foil on those sticky lines and things, but it's still like very, very sticky. And it puts people off because they don't move in the way that we're used to seeing with Ranger and pins and things. And that's because they're not designed to be used that way. But, I don't know that there's a lot of education out there around them. So hence there's that. Then we have Tim's, and there's a few different versions. And this is my alcohol ink storage box. And I actually want to engrave the top of it and see if I can like add some cool stuff on the top so that I can like have my alloys. We've got mixatives. I just want to get one of each kind so we can talk about what's in here. Pearls there. That's a little bit of everything. Okay, I think I have a little bit of everything. The only ones I don't have here are the neons, the new neons. I don't have those. There are also large versions, so you can get some of Tim's colors and the mixatives and things in these large versions, the same as Piñata. They do sell those, and I have some over in my box over there. So there are, I can't remember exactly how many because I want to say like 60 something of alcohol ink. Okay, and it comes under the Tim Holtz brand. They are not the same colors as your Distress, but that's your alcohol ink. So that's your basic colors. And these can be used straight from the bottle, but again, there's a lot of binder in here. So they're not as strong as a piñata. But I still have watched a lot of videos, and I know Tim doesn't water them down and thin them down, but anyone I watch outside of that with alcohol ink art, they still thin these down. So we're going to do that as well. But you don't need to thin them down as much as a piñata. So when we get to that and we start applying them to surfaces, you're going to see the difference between the two. Then there are alcohol pearls, and they have a pearlescence in them. Of course, you can hear they have a silver ball because they settle on the bottom and they dance. That's the only word for it. So the pearls have that pearlescent, they have an alcohol ink in them, and a pearlescent um, element to them that dances. But you can water them down a little bit or thin them out a little bit as a concentrate. However, your alcohol pearls don't react as much as your regular alcohol inks. And that's kind of why I'm doing it in this order. Because then we have our alloys. So these are metallic. So there's a rose, there's a gold, all the metallics come in the alloys. Again, you want to give them a good shape. So these are going to react a little bit with the blending solution, and you have to use the Ranger blending solution, which I'm going to get to in a minute. It comes in a bottle like this, or you can get it in a mini size as well. But you have to use the alcohol blending solution if you want this one to react. And a little bit with this, but I'm going to share with you like different blending solutions. There's Chloro Extender, there's a Piñata cleanup solution. So when we start playing with them, we'll use those. We'll use our own. I make my own concentrates and things, so we're going to play with those too. Yes, I say water them down. I'm saying like apply like a concentrate. Don't add water to them. It's not gonna work. But I'm gonna show you like how to thin them down, the different things you can thin them with, and kind of how it makes a difference in how you thin them down and all those kinds of things. So that's your alcohol blending solution, but we'll get back to that in a second. So this is gonna react a lot. Then a little bit less is going to be your pearl, a little bit less is going to be your alloy, and then really not reacting at all, just adding metallic accent would be your mixatives. So this is kind of the order in which they react. So these are going to give you those ethereals. Then you're going to have a little bit of reaction with the pearl, but not as much. And then even less with the alloy and barely anything in terms of the mixatives. This is more just to add a metallic accent in, and it's not going to react like a regular alcohol ink. That's why they call it a mixative. But there are other things we can do with our mixatives, so we're going to play around with those when we get to that point. So that's kind of like the order in which they're going to react, and the order in which you also should apply them to your project. So these two you can apply at the same time, but these I always suggest applying afterwards. Unless you're doing maybe a particular technique or something. Sometimes I'll work with these two together, and then I'll maybe add some mixative. Rarely will I work with these three all together, but your mixative for me is always going to be last. Okay, so there's that. Then we have alcohol blending solution. So alcohol blending solution is not a blending solution. And Tim said that one day, and I was like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, it's a bleaching solution because they sell the pens to put it in and all kinds of different things. But this also has a binder in it because if you read this, it says irritant, vapor, harmful, harmful if swallowed, read side panel. Because in here is also a binder. So the same binder that they put in your alcohol inks is in this blending solution, but it also bleaches out. So when I show you about using the concentrates and about thinning them down, that's why we're not going to use blending solution, because if you do, you're just going to bleach some of the color out of it. This is about lightening and pulling back color. So it doesn't really blend, it bleaches. Just FYI. For those of us who maybe thought it was blending solution because it says blending solution, if you read it, it actually says to lighten, blend, and remove alcohol ink. So it's a little bit misleading. So you can always put a line through it and put a sticker over that it says bleaching solution. Okay, so that's what blending solution does. And then we have alcohol lift ink. So this comes in an ink pad and it comes in the reinker. I have to say the reinker is my favorite, although I'll also use the ink pad, and I really want us to do some florals with the alcohol lifting. Like we'll make some panels and I'll show you because you can get a ton of different prints with just one image with the alcohol lifting. It's really, really fun and it goes a really long way. We played with it a little bit yesterday. We just used it on a foamy with a stencil, but you can use it in so many different ways. So I really want to play with it and show you. and show you how to get really great results, particularly with this and with the ink pad as well. So this is one of my favorite mediums when I'm doing alcohol ink things, but you can only use it on certain surfaces. So we'll do a whole night on alcohol lifting as well. So there's that. And then we also have our own alcohol solution. So we have a marker blending solution. And I use this mainly with my alcohol markers, but I'll also use it with my alcohol inks. So we're going to use that a little bit like extender, and we're going to use it on our surfaces as well. Okay, so Michelle says, why use the lift solution instead of the blending solution? It's a lot thicker. It's like clear ink. Like think of it as that thickness, whereas blending solutions like water. So you can control it a lot more. Let me grab my little samples from yesterday. You can see I have, this is everything I've made this month and our retreats and everything. Let me see. Our tags. I know I put it in here. What I did. The squares we did yesterday with lifting. I don't know what happened to them. So I don't know where it is, but we'll make some samples. So yesterday we did it in class, and you can control it a lot more. So you can stamp with it. You can use it with stencils. You can use it with all kinds of different things. So yeah, so you'll see it's a little bit of a different technique. Then you've got so inspired elixir marker blending solution. So we're going to use that in terms of thinning, but also for when we're actually working. This is my favorite medium. So this is Dream Drifter. So this will blend. This doesn't bleach, it blends. So this will help your inks blend together. And then finally we have our own extender, but this does something a little bit different. So you'll kind of see this is different to the Claro extender. You see mine is like a cloudy and theirs is yellow because they kind of do different things. So we'll we'll basically take one ink and we'll thin it with all the different things, and I'll show you the difference. Like I do pieces like this, and I'll share with you how I do these. This is just a really inexpensive alcohol ink friendly paper that I buy. And then I write on the back, rainbow blending solution first, move with airbrush, tap pipette with 91% and start flutters. Because back, I didn't know anything else. Now I would use Dream Drifter because it's got an additive in it, but you can absolutely play with 99% and it works great. So I have lots of these that I will share with you. But isn't that pretty? So pretty. So yeah, so you can absolutely play with all those things. We're going to talk about different tools. So when we want to move our alcohol inks around, you can use the blowy airbrush like this. We can use our airbrushes. If you have airbrush, you can use that to move it around and have some really nice concentrated air. Or my favorite thing, and I learned this years and years ago, is this is some kind of curling brush from Revlon. And oh, I don't know. Do I not have it plugged in? Let me plug it in. It sits on the floor next to me all the time. Mm. Mm. Why can it? Oh, yeah. And so it's got a little bit of heat to it. You have a cool, a low, and a high. But even its high when it's hot is not as high as an embossing gun. So when you want that airflow, but you don't want the heat to warp your Yupo. This is the best thing on the cool function, unless you want to just do low to move it around. So I've had this forever. I don't even know. Revlon appliances, RV444. I learned it on a video years and years ago. Yes, I have a real airbrush. I have to get like a compressor. And you can use that to move the ink around as well. I'll try and find it. And we'll talk about different tools. So does that cover everyone's questions about the different brands? Is there a brand that maybe I didn't cover, or any other questions you guys might have on using a, okay, so I'm going to talk about straws because Tim and Jacquard will have a fit about straws. The reason being is it's really easy to suck it in, and the resin vapor that they have in here, and there's a reason that you can't spray alcohol blending solution, is because of the resin in it. So if you inhale that, it really hurts your lungs. Ask me how I found that out. It wasn't fun. Will you cover while my ink did not dry? So you mean like it stayed sticky, Beverly? Yeah. So that's because they're not been thinned down. So if because there's so much resin in them, that resin stays sticky and you have to thin it down, and that's why they're not drying. So yes, we're going to cover that. I mean, you can, if you've got just like sticky on the edges, you know, like when you get the edge of the color and it's a little bit thicker, you can apply thermoweb foil, like the toner foils on it, and it will pick up that color. And so you can add some cool rain, like things like that. Um, well, these ones, let's read the, I don't know if they have a date on them. I'm gonna say I bought these because you see that the old Adirondack before it became like the real Tim Holtz. I'm gonna say I bought them when Maddie was like 2 or 3, so they're 15 years old, I bet. So alcohol inks should be pretty much forever because they shouldn't, unless they evaporate, they yeah, unless they evaporate, then that's it. Um, so what brand are you gonna get, Lola? I want to see. Jay says she doesn't see a clothesline. No, we've been so busy today. I've been busy making cups. I made Safe a cup because I couldn't find any cute doctor's cups. On the back, it says, medicine is the art of caring as much as curing, listening with love, because he wants to be a cardiologist when he comes here. So I got him a stethoscope for Valentine's Day and engraved it with listening with love on it. So now his cup will match his stethoscope because, you know, I'm a sentimental old fool just like that. So Um, Melanie got a starter box from Ranger at Michael's. Lola's gonna get some Ranger ones. Thanks, Michelle. Um, I have a package for him of things that he wants as well. Let me see. What else? I think that's pretty much it about the ink itself. Um, as I say, if you don't have alcohol inks and you don't want to invest, oh, I wanted to talk to you. There is also alcohol ink neons from Tim. I need to see when my order is. I thought I ordered them on Amazon, but they've never turned up. Um, so alcohol ink neons are a little bit like, think of it like the pigment ink of alcohol ink. So it has a pigment in it so that you can see the neon and it stays bright. That's the only way I can really kind of describe it to you. So that's what the neons do as well. But you can make your own. You don't have to buy them. You can make your own as well. So I'm going to teach you all those kinds of things. I mean, they're definitely a hack. It's not like a full alcohol ink, but if you don't want to invest in all the colors, you can do it. There is also ways that you can turn your dye inks into a makeshift alcohol ink as well. Um, no, they do not work the same. So Beverly said, do our metallic alcohol inks work the same as regular? They do not. So I'm going to cover it's probably going to take me a few days to get through everything. Um, but I'm going to cover how each of the different ones work. We're going to use them in practice. I'm going to show you how to thin them down. I'm going to say, show you all the different things. Sandy says some of the inks on Amazon say resin inks. Are they okay? So the reason is alcohol ink became super popular because you can use it in resin. And it is really fun if you haven't done it. You can use it with UV resin and you can use it with like the epoxy resin as well. I have some UV resin here, and I actually made the other day UV resin paper, and then I alcohol inked on it, and it's really, really pretty. You can also alcohol ink on shrinky dinks, and I put the shrink plastic in the laser the other day, and I laser cut some flowers, and I laser cut some flowers, and I scored lines in the flowers, and then when it shrunk down. Um, all of those like lines and everything were in there, and I'd alcohol ink them. They came out really pretty. I have to find where I put them. I turn them into earrings. I think they're in my earring drawer. Jay says, who has money to buy Tim Holtz? My crafty budget is 100% hedgehog hollow these days. I love that. Thank you. Denise says yes. We don't have alcohol inks yet. Yet. But yeah, so I'm going to show you all of those things. I'm also going to show you what you can mix alcohol ink into. I'm going to share with you, we can do resin one night if anyone wants me to show you different ways with resin. Um, so yeah, there's tons of things you can do with alcohol inks. So they're a really fun medium. But we also need a winner tonight. But if anyone's got any questions about alcohol inks, drop them here, send me a message. I want to answer them because I think it's something that we all maybe have or we've seen. But one thing I've realized with alcohol inks, there's not a huge amount of education out there. And I've kind of picked all these little pieces up along the way from watching videos and trying things and going to like Creativation and things. And I actually spoke to the owner of Jacquard one day, and that's how I found out that you're not supposed to use his inks neat, that they are a concentrate. And I'm like, well, you might want to tell people these things. Like nobody knows any of this. Um, so I want to make sure we have all of that. Chris says I have Tim's. I have the full set of Marabu from years ago. I've never used it. That was me. So I had that full set of Marabu for 5 years, and then I opened them and I was so disappointed, like so disappointed. Um, all right, number 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Jay, congratulations, Jay. I'm going to put you in my thing. Everyone who's won a gift card up to now should have received it. I issued the next set today, and I issued all the ones from yesterday too. So everyone should have had their gift cards from yesterday as well. So I did that. So if you're watching this on YouTube, also drop me a comment. Let me know if you have any questions about alcohol ink, what brands you've got, any questions, all those things, so we can cover it during Inktoberfest as well. Don't forget to hit subscribe, ring the bell, give it a thumbs up, all those kinds of things. And remember, if you're watching on the Zoom, you can also go and watch them back on YouTube. So if you want to revisit it or check in on something or watch all of that again, you can absolutely do that as well. Lola, send me an email. I will happily send it on to you as well. So thank you for joining me. I will see you tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. as normal in a different Zoom room. So watch out for the email. It'll be coming out tomorrow. And we will be doing Lift Your Spirits. And we'll be doing watercolor stamping. I don't know where my stamp set is, but so you'll need dye inks, some water sprayers, some cardstock, glitter brushes, those kinds of things. We might do some heat embossing. Maybe I'll even show you how you can stamp with alcohol inks, because you can do that too. If you've never tried that, it's a fun one. Yeah, that's it. So we will check in tomorrow for Lift Your Spirits. And Lift Your Spirits next month's going to be a little bit different. So I'll tell you all about that as well tomorrow night. So we'll see you then. Happy stamping. Good night.